Hello, I'm Cynthia Brooks from Fire and Glory International Ministries, and I come before you today, first of all, just welcoming you to the broadcast. I want you to know that I'm just very happy that you were able to join me today. But I want to talk to you today about a subject that is extremely important. And it's important because we're seeing this every single day of our lives, and that is the display of anger. Whether that anger is provoked or the person is the one who is the angry one, I kind of want to go over some of the issues that will help us grow in this season. We are now in a new season. We're in 2021. And I want us all to understand what it means to live in the moment, also to enjoy life. God still told us that we are to enjoy the abundant life. And so I want to just come to you today about the issue of anger and what it does to the body, what it does to us. Galatians 5:26, and it reads, "Let us not become conceited, boastful, provoking one another, envying one another." I want to start with that scripture because it's so important that we understand what it means to not provoke, being conceited, provoking the other person, knowing that you're doing it. Now, this provocation means that you understand what you're doing. It's not like you don't know why you're doing it or you don't understand why they're angry. You're very, very aware of the fact that you are provoking them to anger. So I want to address that first. And then I want to go on further because there are different types of anger. Anger is an extremely raw emotion. I mean, it's like it's coming up from your soul when someone is doing something to you. And so I want to talk about how anger works. You know, and the first stage of anger that I want to talk about is righteous indignation. And the Bible speaks of righteous indignation and also speak of being angry and sin not. And so I want to talk about righteous indignation. You know, righteous indignation is when we see people laying on the ground and they are homeless and there's nothing we can do about that. And we're looking at these people on the ground and we're wondering, you know, what can we do to help? Why is no one helping them? Where are the services that is available to the homeless? Or we see people out begging, you know, they may have mental health issues, which is why they're begging. And so we're wondering, well, what services are available? Some people know, but others don't. How can we help people who need to be helped? Well, it just stirs something up in us that we become angry. By the same token, you know, we may look at racial issues in this nation and in other nations where people become very upset because they don't like someone of another color, you know, and they may go into a fast food place or any place and insult someone who is of a different ethnic group than they're from. And you're watching this sort of thing, you know, heat rise up in you. You don't like that. That's not good. And so we naturally want to defend the person who is being the recipient of this anger. And so I want to talk about how we deal with righteous indignation. Some people may approach the person and say, you know, hey, that's not good at all. You know, I don't like what you're doing. But whether you say something or not, it is affecting you because it is something that just really burned in our soul. You know, we also look at the exploitation of those who may be of a different nation that come over here and or you go somewhere else and, you know, they exploit you with trying to change your American dollars to whatever country you're in, and they're exploiting you. You know, they're telling you that things are costing way, you know, higher than what they really are, or trying to doing a money exchange, try to give you the wrong amount of money. You get angry about that. You don't like anybody using you, especially dealing with your money. But we look at the issues of this nation that we're in. You know, it should burn in us that people who are not like us maybe cannot get insurance for different reasons. We understand that you know, sometimes people have been to prison. They can't vote. They can't get certain jobs, and you look at them and, well, they paid their dues. They went to prison. They went to jail. They paid their dues. They should have the right to get a job if they qualify for the job. We have to look at the things that make us angry. Righteous indignation. We also looking at crimes against the youth and the elderly. It's sickening to see sometimes now how young people may attack the elderly, may attack the youth, may attack people just because. Like no reason, just because they will attack. This causes us to feel some kind of way when we see people mistreated this way. Righteous indignation. Jesus had righteous indignation when he went to the temple and they were selling the animals that were going to be sacrificed. And you're not going to make my Father's house a den of thieves. And, he had righteous indignation. The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. He didn't sin, but I tell you what, he stopped the madness. Here we have to understand that we will see things in this life that's going to be unpleasant. We will see things that's going to be uncomfortable. We will see things that's unfair. And if it is within your power, then, intervene. But if it's not, then pray. Call the police. But, when we see things happening in the land, see things happening in a place, it just raises up in us something that we just feel like, oh my goodness, how could they do such a thing to people that they don't even know? And then we look at the next step. Now, that's righteous indignation. You're mad, you're angry because you see things happening that's not fair. It's not right, or they're not treating you fair, they're treating you right, and you get angry about that. Don't stay there. Even the Bible tells married couples, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. In other words, fix that problem. As soon as you can, fix the problem. We also see the next step of anger. We're talking about now, it's like a downward spiral when we allow ourselves to become angry. And we don't check it. We don't stop it. We don't say, hey, let me tame this thing. The next step is wrath. This is when we feel heat. It's now you're moving from righteous indignation to wrath. And you feel that heat coming out of your neck or whatever. You're like, oh, no, they're not doing this. Wrath is when we understand we move from a quiet and controlled place of anger to now you may end up in a place of arguments and hollering and expressing yourself loudly because you feel like, wait a minute, you don't have a right to do this to me. And we see this in so many places. I remember one time when I was young and I had 3 little babies and I was in a grocery store. And this old couple came up to me, and this man said to me, of another nationality, another ethnic group, said to me, "You be worth a mint doing slavery times." And I thought, oh, no, he didn't. No, he didn't go there. And, I had 2 options at that moment. I could have just let him know how I really felt about him. Or I can just say, you know what, God, this man is just ignorant. Help me to let this go. Because, see, the things you got to understand, too. When someone provoke you like that for no reason or in public, they have no reason to do that, you have to think about consequences. There will be consequences if you act out. So you have to think about it. I can act out. I can say something, but I'm not going to do it. You know why? Because they're not even worth it. Sometimes people not even worth a response from you. The best response you can give them is walk away. But we see this thing today. We see wrath. We see when people go to the store and someone say, why don't you go back to your own country? What? We just see all of this anger. And, that type of anger to me shows great fear. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid of brown and black people in the country? Why does it bother you? It doesn't bother anybody else. Why does it bother you? And you will see them trying to cause people to feel small, to belittle them, to feel like nothing. This is why they do that. Because they're fearful. They're fearful that they're going to lose their place. And fear can bring about some of the craziest kind of wrath. And you have to make sure that you are not one of these people that is easily offended when someone says something insane to you. Make sure that what you do is dig your heels in deep to the Lord so that whatever they say does not affect you. See, everything that we do we have to bring Jesus into it. Everything that we do. Sometimes you just might, you can, you're just looking at the person like, I can just, let them know how I feel, give them a piece of my mind. But that's not even they're not worth it. They're not even worth the energy. They're not worth the energy. Don't let people get you in a place that you just, you're just acting out of character. Move on. Keep it moving. Ignore them. They're not worth it. Fear will cause people to say all kinds of things. I want you to understand another way that people get into issues is politics, of course. We just see this crazy stuff. Politics and religion. People fight over religious beliefs. Why? You can believe what you want to believe. You know what? I just feel live and let live. I'm going to live. I'm going to let you live. I'm not going to fight over religious beliefs. Now, I do think it is very insulting when I see someone making fun of Christianity. But then again, Jesus said on the cross, forgive them for they know not what they do. And we have to just come up with the same conclusion. They don't know what they're doing. They don't understand where they're coming from, why they're acting that way, where they're coming from. And they really don't understand who they are truly insulting. It's not you. It's God. And so I sit back and I look at how people behave toward one another, how little respect they have for other people. And so the next one I want to look at is even in America, we have in different areas, we have different denominations. My sister brother lives up in Chicago, and they have Muslims, and they have Christians, and they have Jews, and they have all kind of churches up there. And all of these people have learned to live well in that melting pot of diversity of religion and diversity of people from different nations. They've learned to live with each other. Why can't the rest of us learn to live with each other without judgment? I want to move to the next one, which is fury. Fury is wrath that is now going past that stage of arguing, going past that stage of hollering, going past that stage of just, hey, I'm gonna give you a piece of my mind. You're moving past that now. I want to help somebody today. Because see, when you move past that stage, that's when you need to kind of call a truce in your mind with you and the Lord. Say, God, help me right now, because I'm about to move into another area where I don't want to be in this area. And we see this so much. So you move into that next category called fury. This is when it's like, I've had enough. I want to shut your mouth. You don't have enough sense to be quiet on your own. I'm about to help you. And you throw dishes and you tear up something at God and you cut their clothes up and you might, throw the TV down. You take a glass and throw it at their head. Now you're acting out, because what was now before controlled now is uncontrolled anger, and you don't care. I just don't care. This person is wrecking my last nerve. And you have to make sure when you get to this place, before you get to fury, you're in wrath. You can feel it, and anger is coming up. But you get to that place when you start seeing red. I'm mad now. I'm upset. And, and I told you to be quiet, and you didn't have enough sense to be quiet, or you've done something to me. You might have hit my car and done it on purpose. You may have done something awful to me. You might have stolen from my house. I'm mad. I'm about to get even. I'm not just mad. I'm about to get even. And you have to tell yourself, stand down. Stand down. It is not worth the fight. So many people move into this place of fury where they don't even understand that they're almost out of control. You got to wake up the next day. If it's someone that you live with, you have to look at your house and now I got to clean all this glass up. Or now I have to buy another TV. Or I'm going to make the decision, we can't live together because I'm mad at you. Or went into a place of just complete disrespect, saying things to one another that you may not be able to repair. Fury is a bad place to move into. And before you move from wrath to fury, you need to truly check yourself. And I want to turn right now to Proverbs 14 and verse 17. Proverbs 14 and 17. I want you to understand we do have the ability to not go into these crazy places. And when other people are with us and they see us moving, they need to help us out too and just stop the madness. Tell the other person, stand down, you stand down. Proverbs 14 verse 17, it says, a quick-tempered man acts foolishly. You think? A quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of wicked intentions is hatred. Listen, some people are just evil to the core. They are wicked to the core, and they will do everything they can do to upset you. You know why? Because they know you're trying to live a decent life. But you have to remember that when it's all said and done, and you allow yourself to go into this place of fury, they can't tell which one is the fool. Because now you're acting just like them. Have nothing, the Bible says, to do with an angry man, lest you learn their ways. I want to help you out there. Some of you are dealing in relationships right now, and oh my goodness, the man is so good to you and so sweet to you. Buy you flowers, buy you candy, wine and dine you, but he got a bad temper. Exit. Because you're going to be in a situation where you're going to either have flight or fight. You're going to have to either fight them or you're going to have to flee. And so you don't want to get there. When a person begins to show you who they are, believe it. You know, you're talking about something, all of a sudden, bam, they're just mad. And you're like, what lit that flame? You know, you have to ask yourself, what lit the flame? What started this fire? Well, you know what? They're quick-tempered. You may have said next to nothing, and they didn't understand what you were saying or why you were saying it, and so they come out crazy with you. You make the decision whether you want to stay with a man who is totally, or a woman, because it's not just men, a man or a woman who is quick-tempered. We've seen movies about this. You know, we've seen movies where someone is angry and they do insane things to people, shoot you in the foot or shoot you or stab you or whatever. You know, we've seen movies like that, but you know, it's not a cute thing when you're living with someone like this, or you're in a relationship with someone like this, or you find yourself out in public, you're in the store, someone says something you did that you don't like, or they get in front of you, or, you know, we're 6 feet in line, they get in front of you, and you say, excuse me, I was here first, and they're off like a firecracker. The best thing to do is say, you got it. You can stand there, that's okay. Because what can you do with someone who is now in a place of fury? Some people have mental illness. We got to remember, too, some of these people out here are mentally ill. They don't have a restrainer. All they want to do is destroy whatever upset them. You got to be careful. And so we can move from fury to rage. Let me tell you something. That rage right there, that thing is a horrible emotion. So many people are sitting in prison because of rage, because they got upset with someone, and all of a sudden, because they have uncontrollable anger and maybe mental illness, but uncontrollable anger. Everybody that get angry is not mentally ill. Trust me. You have some very nice mentally ill people. But just say you're with this person and they become upset about something. Like what tripped you off? And there is absolutely nothing you can do if they choose to go violent with you, because this is the stage now. Rage. Where this person now is ready to do anything. They will erase your life. And when you begin to see these stages in someone that you're with, that they're moving now, they move from wrath to fury, get out. Or get them into a place where they can be delivered, because that last stage is not a good one. And many, many good and decent and wonderful people have been slain because they were with someone who could not control their temper. And they grab something. They're mad. And then they hit you with it or shoot you or whatever they're going to do. You know how many people are sitting in prison wondering the next day? Because see, I'm going to tell you something. Well, let me go backward. Wondering the next day why they're there. Because let me tell you something. I'm going with this thing. Let me tell you something. As I said before, when you get to the place of wrath, you can feel the heat coming up. When you get to fury, sometimes you're like almost see red. You are furious. You want to just tear the word up because this person is provoking you. Well, if you're feeling these things in these two categories of wrath and of fury, what do you think they feel when they get to rage? Sometimes they black out. They don't understand where they are. They don't know why they did what they did. But they can end a life right there. Get away from them. We have seen people with road rage where someone hit their car or just got in front of them. You don't know what's eating that person, who might have made them mad or they're mentally. You don't know. You get in front of them. And then they may, they may pass you and these people, they shoot a bird at them or say something crazy to them. And now they're coming after you. You got to think, people. We're living in an age now where people are dealing with uncontrollable anger. And we see this in the news all the time. It is nothing for them to take a life. So you have to use wisdom when you deal with the people today, because they don't have anything to restrain them, especially when they move into this last stage of rage. And you don't know what they may have dealt with before they got to you, but now you're the one that they're coming for. I want you to think about this when you are dealing with people today. If you're in a relationship and you're dealing with a man or woman in a relationship, this is not just something men do, women do it too. And in this relationship, this person has uncontrollable anger. They get mad. They want to tear the house up. They want to cuss you out. They want to fight. It's fight or flee, or fight or flight. They might want to fight. You need to flee if you can. I mean, flee permanently so that you don't become a statistic. We have to look at what is going on out here. People are dealing right now with fear, lots of fear, because of the things that we're watching that's happening on the earth that we have absolutely no control over. People have lost jobs. People can't get jobs for whatever reason. They may not be able to get a job. They may have had a decent job, and a job had to lay them off because of COVID or whatever, or the restaurant shut down, or some of these places that people gather in shut down, and they lose their jobs. They are now in a place of total fear, and it may not take very much for them to act out of order or to go from wrath to fury to now rage. But if you are in a place that you can prevent yourself from becoming a victim, do so. Prevent that. You don't need to become a victim. And some people you don't need to deal with. They just got a bad temper. No, baby, it's deeper than that. It's deeper than a bad temper. They may be dealing with a demonic situation that you can't do anything about. They may be dealing with a situation of just, like I said, mental illness, or they just may not have never been taught. This is not what you do when you're angry. This is not the way you behave when you're angry. You look at your issue and you deal with it. Go get some help somewhere. You may need to have help if you are continually enabling a person like that you're around making excuses for them. And I've heard people do that. Well, they are the sweetest thing in the world when they're not angry. And they are so sweet. And they buy me gifts. And they're so kind to me. And they tell me how pretty I am or whatever. Yeah, right. Who are they, though, when they're angry? They don't care about your pretty. They don't care about your nice. They don't care about you loving God. They don't care about your family, how your family would feel if something happened to you. They only care about right at that moment. They're feeding the rage. You know, they're almost not even responsible for themselves. And sometimes, you know, they wake up the next day wondering, why, like I said, why am I here? Why am I here? What happened? And when they found out you just committed a crime and your loved one is no longer here. And you know what? They're devastated by that. They are devastated. But they didn't think they can go that far. They didn't think they could hurt someone to that magnitude. They didn't think they could. But trust me, they can. They can. I want to look at, again, this one. An angry man stirs up strife. You know, somebody's angry, they're stirring it up. They're stirring up the strife. An angry man stirs up strife, and a furious man abounds in sin. He abounds in sin. I mean, there's a whole lot of sin, and he lives in that place of sin. And they can come off being so sweet, buying you roses, buying you flowers, telling you how gorgeous you are. They love your God. They say they know him. Let them get mad. Let them get angry. And you will see who they really are. I want you to think about yourself in this time. If you're one of these people that you're dealing with rage and anger, deal with that. Get help. Get help. Go talk to a minister or a counselor. Preferably a minister. If you want to got another problem, hey, you need to get some help. But by all means, look at yourself and see where you are. And if you're staying with someone like this, ask yourself why. You be blessed. I just want to just thank you for joining me today. I pray that what I've given you will help you. God bless. Amen.